What's happening? Andy here. I am joined today by Jen Healy of Ricoh. How are you doing, Jen?
Fantastic, Andy. How are you doing?
Good. I am great. It is awesome to see you. I haven't seen you since Ricoh ConvergX about, what was it, 6 months ago, 8 months ago in Las Vegas. Last time we had a great press dinner together. And how you been since then? How's your world?
It's been very different. Not traveling, not seeing our dealers face to face. So as the same thing with you, probably not traveling as much.
Yeah, at all. In fact, it's been a little different of a lifestyle for me here. My wife's getting used to me, as we kind of just mentioned earlier, being around this much. And so you're in Chicago. How's everything going? Things are I'm in Western New York myself. Things are getting a little better. We're in phase 3. We can eat out at restaurants, and certainly we can eat outside, but they even open up inside. And my wife can get her nails done. Like, the important things are starting to come back. Where are you guys at?
About the same way. They're opening up restaurants, starting to see stores opening up, which is fantastic. You won't be so sheltered, getting used to humans again and interaction.
Yep.
Yeah. Same thing with my husband. This is the longest I've been home in 13 years, Andy.
Well, it's so funny you say that, because I've had a few people say the same things. I was talking to one of your partners, Frank Malozzi, and I think he said he hasn't had this stretch where he's been home for over 30 years. So, it turns out it's like everyone's finding out you're lucky you're getting along with your spouse as much as you thought you would. But it's nice to, I'm sure everyone's not in that spot. We are, but it's definitely different being home like this.
Yeah.
First,
I think he's got to get used to the honey-do list.
He does, right? I do. But I should. It would probably make my life a lot easier. First and foremost, I want to say congratulations. You were just chosen as one of the CRN Women of the Channel. This news just came out a couple weeks ago. What was that all about? What did you do?
So I'm very humbled, first of all. As CRN had conducted interviews with many talented women in business, in technology, and specifically our industry. And, it was a series of interview questions, and then, was absolutely surprised, but flattered, and that, I was chosen as one of those women, and absolutely humbled by it. And if you looked at the list of women that were recognized, true leaders, within their business, and, I couldn't have done this, really honestly, Andy, if it wasn't for Ricoh and the 26 years being here, and 6, with dealer marketing and being part of, Jim Curry's organization and the talented dealer division. And most importantly, our Ricoh family group of dealers. They're fantastic. It's what gets me up every day and excited and passionate. After 26 years, you kind of go in and out. And the last 6 years has been, I think, the best 6 years with the company. Absolutely. Every day I think about that, and having those communications with our dealers. So I wanted to thank everybody, because I look at it as not just a win for Jen Healy, but a win for Ricoh, our dealer division, and the channel itself, and our family group of dealers.
Well, it's a really nice thing, and especially being recognized by a premier publication in the IT space. Everybody knows them. I would like to get my numbers to where theirs are someday, and little by little we will. But when I read the article, it talked a lot about you earning this recognition for your work on the ConvergX conference. And so we mentioned that earlier. That was the last time I saw you, right? And that was a big statement conference for you guys. You changed the format up a ton. You went from 1,000 people down to, it was 400 or 500, and you decided we're just going to focus really on the top people at the dealerships, the principals, and instead of building a conference for everybody, we're going to focus on that C-level person within the dealership, and change it up a little bit. So what did you do on that? You had some new programs that came out during that program, and you were a big part of that, and obviously that's why you got this recognition. What was that all about? What were you working on, and where is it now?
Yeah, great question, Andy. So when we looked at this, right, it's the minute we in ConvergX, we start 18 months of planning again. And, this year, Jim, Pretty, and myself were, speaking about it and taking a new approach, right? Which is the leadership forum, and, really partnering, with the leaders inside of the dealerships. And, my part in this was a lot of what was the message going to be. And all of our branding, and looking at it into 3 specific areas at ConvergX, as you saw, like in our, the showroom floor that we normally have, our technology center, was much different. It was about going to a breakout, and then the action was on the show floor, right? Versus just technology. It was, how do you put it in place? And coming out with clear actions and having our dealers sign up for different initiatives that's very applicable to their business. And our message was all about our resources, our tools, Andy, and really the partnership with, Ricoh. And if you really think about it, it's like a pick and play, right? Like where are we going to go? What do we want to drive to? Yeah, there you go. So it shows all of our neighborhoods, as we so called them. And it was a very different forum, and we got great feedback from our dealers, and we have been very consistent with the messaging at ConvergX and our go forward plan. It really was our business plan as we entered into 2020.
So I have to say that I love the cocktail hour being held on the floor, and
yes,
not just because I love cocktails. There's 2 big dealers right there, good ones right there.
Yep.
But what I think happens is you wind up, spending a lot more time and on that floor. And I don't know if that was the intention, but all of a sudden it was, people were running to their booths because conversations were happening. And when you're mingling around and milling around, I mean, it's one thing when, and you did a good job at your conference of this, but a lot of times conferences struggle with the breakout sessions, right? Because now you've got all these partners and vendors that are just sitting there, and everybody's in the sessions. And you guys have done that in the past, but this year you actually had the breakout sessions kind of coordinated with it, and that helped. But I have to say, the best part, I thought, was the cocktail hour in there, and another one of your competitors actually does some of their meals in that area. You have to physically walk through there to get to the meal. And the whole idea of just keeping people on that floor probably stinks for the vendors because they can't get away, but from their booths, and just have relax. But no one's there to relax. We're there to do our jobs. And the fact that you get people in there for another 2-3 hours, and by the way, they're also having some cocktails. They're relaxing a little. Their guards, maybe not their guard, but they're they're willing to have more conversations with people. And it's I thought that was a really clever idea. And that was I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, thanks for that feedback. That was the intention. When you look at the feedback, we always send out surveys post our meeting, and not only to our dealers, but also to the vendor partners, right, that are there to support. And that was some of the feedback. Hey, can we get more traffic in? And as we were fashioning this and looking at tying breakouts to those neighborhoods that you saw just a minute ago, it was so that we were driving that traffic inside. And then the cocktail hour the same way. We wanted to make sure that we gave a lot of opportunity for our dealers to have conversations with our partners, and also to go back because it was high speed. And one of the things that the biggest thing we heard from the surveys this year was that dealers said it was spot on. It was just the right mix of those breakouts, and there wasn't a lot of downtime. It was in, boom, 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 go to the next one, but well worth it, and liked going in and seeing it in action and signing up and having an action plan as they walked out of ConvergX at the end of the week. So, or the couple of days, I should say, week for me.
Yeah.
But all good stuff.
Well, you put cocktails in the thing, in front of the booths, and you're going to wind up with an extra hour each night that you do that, where people are going to mill around, they're going to hang out, and they're going to socialize. And I just thought you added a lot of value to your partners, and sometimes those and in years in the past too, sometimes you just don't get the traffic that you want, and I think you really nailed it this year with that. So moving on, one of the big topics you guys talked about was cloud programs and some billing programs that were launched. And then today, have you here on a really good day for this interview. But today, you guys had a really big announcement, your new subscription-based cloud-hosted automation services that are going to help businesses work smarter. So tell me, Jen, how are they going to help businesses work smarter? What is this about? Is this follow-up from ConvergX? Is this a new platform? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, no, great question, Andy. So if you really looked at ConvergX, we were driving inside of ConvergX to have our dealers start to look at subscription-based, right? It was in three different breakout sessions, and really focused into how to transform their business and get sticky with their customers, as I like to put it, and go beyond just the hardware. And so one of the areas that we focused to was what we call the Silver Marketing Program. And it's really a market team approach. Like I was mentioning earlier, the dealer marketing group is really part of the fabric of the dealer division, and we work as market teams. So my field marketing team, my channel managers work hand in hand with the DBMs and the MACs and the TSCs. And so we put this program together to not just say, here's a solution, but the whole entire Silver Marketing Program walks the dealer through what's the opportunity that sits out there, where should I focus to, what do my buyers care about, and we really walk them through the training with their sales reps of how to put a campaign together using social media. And then, what are the basic questions for opportunities and looking for opportunities, and all of our collateral and materials that we provide to our dealers all through that Silver Marketing Program. And now with the Ricoh Smart Integration, the enhanced version, right? So that's the press release that you saw, is much more, right? There was certain capabilities, but now it really addresses cloud-based workflows, and that is part of our Silver Marketing Program. So it's not a one and done. It constantly evolves, Andy. I mean, as you and I know, business constantly evolves. We keep seeing our industry changing, and so we're constantly adding content and materials and going back and partnering with our dealers day in, day out as they migrate into this new subscription-based economy.
Now, the subscription program that you guys are launching here, is this just print, or is this incorporating different aspects of like you said, workflow? Is it incorporating solutions and maybe some of the peripheral software that goes along with print, or is it is this IT? Is it Internet of Things? Where?
Yeah, it's a great question. If you look at the cloud-based services and Ricoh Smart Integration as a whole, so the announcement that was sent out today, you can look, there's different elements inside of that. And it really does address a couple of key areas that we're hearing as, we're living in this new world of work, and what does it look like when we're coming out of it. The key things that customers are asking for is, I'm dealing with remote workers, I'm dealing with security, the health and safety of my people. I need to have a secure way of sharing information. And so it really is IT focused, but it is software at the end of the day, right? That you're integrating. So it's kind of melding those two things together. And it's based on those conversations that you're having with, your customer. And it could be as simple as, scanning capability, to something, all the way through workflows and connecting into their back office, right? Into their infrastructure and sharing information. So it really reaches all areas. And I think you saw also in that press release that there's very specific industry workflow applications like legal, healthcare. Yeah. So it really does address all of the above.
So two great ones right now. I couldn't help but pick up on two things you mentioned that are big components of this, and it was security, and it was working, helping people work remotely. And obviously, in today's environment, you couldn't be in two better areas right now with your announcement. And I'm sure that was just a coincidence. I know based on what you showed us in Las Vegas, that this was probably in the making way before the situation we're in was dropped upon us. But just fortunately for your dealers, for your resellers, you really seem to be putting a pretty cool platform in front of them that is very topical right now. And I have to think right now with people working from home, and it's got to be an easier time than ever to get to that decision maker when you're making your calls, and to be able to have a conversation that says, how are you set up remotely right now? Are you secure? Are you able to get your files? And because I can tell you, my wife, I've said it in a million of these videos already, but she works in a school system. She's a psychologist, and she can't get her files unless she's at the school. Half of them are hard copy. That's a problem, right? And so the other half, she'd have to physically drive out and get on the Wi-Fi because she wasn't set up for connectivity from home. She'd have to sit in the parking lot and get on the Wi-Fi to get her files. And so, you've got a lot of customers out there, a lot of potential for something like this, where you can start, you go, the first thing you do is ask, how are you doing and where are your bottlenecks, and are you prepared right now? Can we help you? That's the first thing you should say. Can I help you? And, and here as a Ricoh dealer, Savin dealer, Linear dealer, you guys have equipped them pretty nicely for that question. So good timing.
You're absolutely right. If I had that magic, ball, I think we predicted it, but we didn't. No, we were well set up in looking at the future and the way the world was going. Anyway, there's a lot of, companies that were allowing remote workers a couple days a week. And it just so happened that, the world did change. And I think we're well positioned. And that really led into, Jim had spoke about the business continuity playbook that we put together, right? And that was us taking ConvergX, putting it on steroids, taking what we normally would do live and making it virtual, opening up more and more communications with our dealers. What are they seeing? What are they hearing? And acting quickly. That's the key to all this, right? We had a lot of this in play, but we quickly reacted and made everything virtual. And that includes, our own people and training our own people. And the idea of the business continuity playbook was really what they saw at ConvergX, maybe a couple little things added to it to help with, work from home. But it was a pick and play, and we're continuing to do that and working with our dealers individually. That's the key. Every market's different, every dealer's different, their situation's different. And we at Ricoh and the market team, in the dealer division, want to make sure that we're addressing each dealer individually and their needs.
Well, you have a lot of them to deal with. So you're definitely one of the biggest as far as number of dealers and resellers. And I'm sure that's quite a challenge. Jen, thanks so much for taking the time with me today. Any last shout outs you'd like to give, or one last message to everybody?
Well, yeah, I just want to say, hey, thanks, Andy, for chatting with me today. It's always great to see you. Makes the world seem a little bit closer. And want to give a big shout out to, all of our dealers during this time, and really partnering with us and giving us, great feedback and the communication. And then the dealer division in itself and all of our Ricoh family. A great company, 26 years. Couldn't imagine my life any differently.
Well, it has been a little longer since, I'd like it to be since we got together, and hopefully we'll be able to start doing some meetings at some point soon, and we can, go out and have some cocktails on Ricoh or on me for that matter. But
exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, I look forward to dinner again.
I do. I miss seeing everybody. I miss the hugs. What can I say? But it's been great catching up with you, Jen, and we'll talk soon. And I want to check in with you down the road and see how things are going with with this new platform, with this program. So
awesome. I appreciate it. I'm sending you a virtual hug right now, Andy.
Thank you. Take care, Jen.
Talk to you soon. Bye.